Hello and welcome to my tutorial. For today I prepared quite a long video with loads of steps to follow. This is going to be set of both Christmas box and Christmas medallion with clock. As you can see, I already applied white primer on my box. Today I'm using white modeling paste from Stamperia on my stencil. But before I start, I spray temporary glue on my stencil. I wait few seconds for glue to dry and become sticky, and then I can position it on my box. Temporary glue prevents both paint and paste from leaking under it. It will also stay in place at the time of painting. After each use, I wash my stencil with warm water and I repeat the process until all four sides are covered. Now we can start preparing images. Most of the time I tear rice paper with fingers for better blending. This way edges are fluffy and tend to blend better, saving us time with less coats of varnish later on. Before I start gluing, I need to make sure my clock is in the middle of the box, so I use ruler and I mark center of the box as well as middle of each edge where hours 9, 12, 3 and 6 supposed to be. Only then I start gluing my paper by applying glue first on the box and then on top of my images, smoothing it from the middle towards edges. When my box is dry, I apply one layer of blue paint on sides. I want my lid to be white around the clock and then gradually darker towards edges. I mix white, turquoise and green paint along the way. Once this is dry, I brush more white paint on top of the lid, blending edges where blue and white meets. Then, with almost dry brush, I apply more white paint on sides of my box to expose stenciled pattern. In the meantime, I start working on my medallion. First, I use sandpaper to remove imperfections on edges as well as matte the surface so paint can stick to it more easily. Then I use white primer and sponge to cover my bauble. One coat should be just enough if you are using sponge. You might need more coats if you are using brush. Now I can glue my clock to match the box. As usual, I tear images with fingers for better blending. I also tear my images towards center because gluing on curved surfaces is very tricky. If you tear images towards center, edges will overlap each other instead of creating wrinkles. We will even surfaces later by varnishing sanding process. When my medallion is dry, I can go back to work on the box. I found some leftovers from last year's decorations, so I will be adding those inside. Again, I tear paper with fingers for better blending. Once my images are ready, I use scissors on corner which will go against sides of my box. Then I follow golden rule of applying glue under the paper as well as on the top. I use my favorite Decoupage varnish and glue and synthetic brush. You can buy most of these items in my online shop at www.aggiescraftshop.co.uk. I will link everything for you below. I also add two small holly branches on two corners of the lid. Again, some leftovers from previous years. Now it's time to glue 1/2 of acrylic medallion on top of my clock. You will need to cut off this fixing bit. Ask your other half to help you, as I managed to crack one before this one. It is best to put it flat on the table and go over fixing with sharp knife. I use express glue to attach all my fixings. You have to wait few minutes holding your medallion before it gets dry, but once dry it's very strong. In the meantime, I fill rope molds with cream paste. This will take at least 12 hours to dry, so creating 2 ropes of the same size will take about 2 days. Make sure you push paste well inside the holes so there are no air bubbles inside. As you can see, ropes are very flexible when dry and can be glued on round surfaces. First, I glue them around clear face of my clock using the same express glue. Next step would be splashing dots. I mix my paint with splash of water and I use brush with stiff bristle this time instead of fan brush because I have loads of corners to cover. Fan brush is better on flat surfaces. You can also use toothbrush if you want to. I simply shortened my brush by cutting bristle halfway. When I'm happy with the finish, I can start varnishing. I apply several layers of gloss water-based varnish and then I use fine sandpaper to smooth my surface with another varnishing to follow. I sand only on top of my lid around clock and inside the lid where I glued rice paper earlier on to even the surfaces. My box is drying and I can go back to my medallion. I mix matching blue paint and I use sponge to apply my paint on edges. I already created video with red medallion clock some time ago, so you don't need detailed instruction this time. When my varnishing is finished, I glue more ornaments on two corners of the box and some snowflakes. I had those sitting in my drawer for ages. Once again, those are leftovers from another project. At the very end, I apply two final coats of varnish, sealing ornaments and snowflakes. I also glue roping around my medallion and my work is pretty much finished. Perhaps you could add some glitter here and there if you wanted to. I hope you liked this video. If so, please leave your thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.